Welcome, everyone, back to the Cub Content Studio on the Pull Tab Sports Network. I am Prop Bet Pete. He is David Casino, and he is our producer, Sal, around the corner. We cannot see him because there's a curtain here, David, and I think that's for a reason. What do you think?
But I think the viewers on YouTube can.
Oh, that's
I'm sure
fantastic.
he's
Yeah,
waved.
every once in a while I've waved.
Sally.
Sal, you got the bags of candy in front of you?
Yes.
You brought
That
him
was
some bags of
my
candy.
fault. That
As
wasn't
I'm-
Sal. Just
Yeah.
100%.
As I'm shoving my face.
So a couple things, kind of extension of last week's podcast or last podcast. This is podcast number 14, by the way, David. Can't believe we've made it to 14. I thought they'd fire us after one, but we got here to 14.
You haven't seen the email. They actually did. We just keep coming.
Oh, that's right. Maybe I should read I only read the viewer email.
I think we just got to wait for the second notice to see if they're serious.
Exactly. When we show up and there's no longer a sign on the door and they say eviction notice.
Or the time that Sal, when I said, "Where are you?" and he's like, "We're filming downtown today, in Minneapolis," and I went, "What?" And then he comes around the corner. Remember that, Sal?
Yep, I do.
That was good.
One of these days we're going to show up and they're not going to be here, and then we're going to get the hint. But today's like last week's podcast, number 14 today, we're going to talk more about being on the road because we did go on the road, and you and I actually visited one individual casino 3 times in the period of 24 hours.
So if you're listening for the first time and you were wondering about the gambling guys,
Yeah.
it's more the degenerate gambling guys, and that's why you're here. Because previous to this, for call it 45, 50 years, I
Yeah.
had gone to the casino 2 times. Wait, how do I want to say this? Not in Vegas or not staying at a casino. I had visited the same casino in a 24-hour period twice. 2 different times. And we did it 3 times in 24 hours.
That's a record for you then.
Was it a record for you?
Well, yeah, obviously, yes. I think I've never left a casino other than Vegas, like you said, because Vegas there's just multiples, but I've never left a casino in a car driven 80 miles,
I was just gonna.
then driven back
Well, the way you sound,
And then
I mean, these are all
driven
factual data points, but
60 miles and then driven back again.
they were all on the way.
They were on the way, and we'll explain that during the conversation. You know,
Why don't we just jump in? Because if people are listening for the first time, they're like, "What in the world with these 2 knuckleheads and Sal?" But then,
well,
if
the
you're
first
listening-
thing I want to do is talk about Cub Foods because they're such a great sponsor of ours, and I
Good
wanted
point.
to let them know that we appreciate them. I've used Cub Foods a lot. I have one specific instance in the last week or so. We had a family event, and my wife asked me, well, you know, let's go grab some food, and she mentioned a couple other grocery stores, and I said, let's go to Cub, and she said, why are we going to Cub? And I said, 1, because their produce is great, 2, because they sponsor us, 3, because I always get great food there and never worry about it. So I grabbed some grilling stuff, I grabbed some dessert, I grabbed some bread and some salads and things, and everything was fantastic. The burgers were awesome, the brats were awesome. So thank you, Cub. Very convenient, very easy to work with. Great store, and always a pleasure to walk in and out of your store. So thank you for your sponsorship.
well done, well done.
Thank you.
So last week,
last week,
because we got to explain this. We
Yeah.
decided to come up. We did a little mountain biking. We did a little water skiing.
We
and
did.
We had already planned we were going to make a casino run.
we
Because we
did.
got to get content. We got to get some videos.
Yeah, it's all about content
That's
and
the
video. It has nothing to
justification.
do with the gambling.
Nothing that I will love it absolutely.
I don't.
So we went up that night and had a good time. And let's call it 60 miles drive. And then came back.
And then
right?
came back. So from the place that we are at, which is David's little hideaway, we did. That was a busy day. We, like you said, we mountain biked. Then we did some water skiing.
Oh, I got to tell the water skiing story. This is definitely not a water skiing podcast, but Sal, Pete is a very good water skier. He's a good downhill snow skier and a good water skier. And we use the jet ski, and so I was on it, and it's a strong wave
do.
runner, and it pulls us up, and it's pretty easy to maneuver. And Pete had me. Well, you can tell the story about what happened to me, but I'm going to tell the story what happened to you. So
Okay.
he was on one, and he got caught up a little bit, and I looked back, and he took a dive. So I was kind of looking over my shoulder and turning around. Well, he comes up, and he's holding his head.
Oh, no.
So I gunned it right at him, right? Because now, I mean, like, we got to Like if he's gonna drown, I want to watch his eyes as he drowns. I want to be close to him when he drowns.
Yeah,
I don't want to be 50 yards
see
away.
That last moment before I go under.
Good, it's just me on the gambling guy from now on. Yeah, I'm terrible. Aren't
He's
I?
already writing a text to Sal. We're now the gambling guy.
So he's like, he's holding his back of his head, and he's like, "Oh, the ski hit me." Meanwhile, he's got a red mark from here to here where the water had hit you. You got the bell rung a little bit, I think. Didn't you?
I did. That happens a lot with me with skiing because I try to tuck my shoulder when I go over, and I usually go over front end, and so I try to usually tuck my shoulder and just let my shoulder take the brunt of it. And that time I just happened to skip my head off the water. And then the ski came up from behind me and racked me right in the back of the head. The only thing I was worried about was I just didn't want, because my mom was a nurse growing up, and she always said, if you get the smallest of cuts on your head, for some reason the capillaries and veins in your head bleed like a crazy. So she's like, don't ever freak out about it if your head gets hit, but make sure you pay attention to it. So I was like searching around looking for blood, and that's when you saw me, and I saw you gun it, and I'm like, okay, so not only is the ski going to hit me, but the jet ski is going to hit me as well.
Hey, as a concerned person, good concerned friend.
No, you did a great job of getting back to me, so thank you for that. We did do some water skiing, and I almost took David into another boat and another tube. A guy turned right into him, and you may have had a few choice words for him, so that was fun.
I mean, he was 30 feet away, and he turned towards me at 30 miles an hour.
He did turn towards you, and he heard David's yell, I'm sure, over his engine, because I heard you yell. I was on the jet ski 50 feet in front of you.
Sal,
what the F are you doing?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yep. So then he quickly turned the other way.
He did quickly turn the other way, and he didn't come over towards us anymore.
That's why I like the river.
The
river's north and south.
North and south.
Good point. Yeah, you can get a little crazy on the lake.
Yeah. David's little hideaway has a fantastic lake, and if you hit it on a good day when it's glass, it's unbelievable skiing. But if you do hit it on a busy day, you got to have your head on a swivel, or you're in trouble.
Yeah.
So we had a day of recreation planned the lake, out on the trails, put in a good ride, mountain bike ride, and then we went up to Mille Lacs.
We went up to Mille Lacs. We drove up to Mille Lacs. This was in the evening, like a Saturday evening, Sal.
Okay.
And walked in the door, and I don't believe we did particularly well on that.
We were there for a while, though, and I think we, to speed the story up, I mean, because that's visit one.
That's visit one, yes.
And then we came back.
We did.
And then we were headed back up, and we're going to get Sal into this conversation because Sal invited us up, but we were going up to play golf. So, Sal, one has to stop and let the dog go to the bathroom because I had, right? Sure. So I let the dog, actually, Pete took the dog for a walk while I went in. We had a game plan.
We did have a game plan.
And then I came out, and I think it was 200 apiece.
Yeah, so the game plan was 200 apiece. I took the dog for a little walk over to some grassy areas for her to kind of stretch her legs a little. And David went into the casino. This was Sunday morning at like 8 a.m.
So let's call it 12 hours. We had been there,
12 or less.
But we had planned that. So we had planned we were going to go right by it.
Yeah, we were going right by it on our way up to play golf with Sal and some friends up north. And so we ended up, David went in, and he came out kind of with his tail between his legs a little bit about 15 minutes later and said, I didn't do very well.
So we were playing one-eye jacks, and with one-eye jacks, you should be able to get four of a kind fairly frequently.
You should. I
didn't have a thing.
You didn't get anything, and then we decided we were going to, because we were on kind of a time limit, we decided we were going to play $5 one-eye jack, so max bet $25.
Yep.
Right? So 200 goes pretty fast when you do that. And David came out relatively quick, although you must have gotten some stuff because it wasn't like you were in and out of there. And then I went in, and I think you were down to nothing. I went in and got our 400 back and got out.
And some.
I think You
made up for some of the night before.
I think I did.
I think you made 180 a piece or something. I thought you hit 2 4 of a kind.
I think you're right. I think I did.
Because then I was like, well, now it's the price of entertainment, right?
Now we're back to even.
So I'm justifying for myself, you, Sal, and the rest of our listeners, because I had already started thinking about visit number 3.
But vastly different crowd, as you might imagine, on a Saturday night versus a Sunday morning.
Yeah.
Really interesting. In fact, we probably saw some of the same folks we saw the night before. They just didn't look as good as they did the night before because they probably lost all their money. But there was probably, Saturday night, 700-800 people in there. Let's just call it that. And then Sunday morning, maybe 30.
7 or 8.
7 or 8 people. Yeah, 100. Divide that by 100.
Livy had the parking lot to herself when she was running around.
She did. We had a very prime parking spot on Sunday morning. So then we went up and played golf, which we played David and I against each other for oodles and oodles of cash because that's what we do. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, I may have taken you on that.
Pete starts out triple and then a double and ends the front 9 with a double and shoots 41. So if you're doing the math, he shot 2 under for a 6-hole run there.
I did.
That's tough to beat.
It is tough to
I
beat
think
when you were giving me strokes,
or
too.
2 on the front.
Yeah.
Yep. And then I brought it to within 1.
You did.
Lost by 1.
Yeah. So
those greens are diabolical. But so then what we had done is we had tea time later in the afternoon, and we're going to get Sal into the conversation here in a second because, Sal, you invited us up there and you got this big event. We were going to stay up there and you were going to head back. So when we got done golf, it was one of the fastest rounds I've ever played. We played through that group. We were done in 3:10, weren't we?
We were done in 3:10.
So then
or less.
I said, Pete, how about I ride back with you 60, 80 miles, maybe more like 80 miles. And then I can have Erica meet me there, and I can ride the rest of the way up with her because she was coming up to Sal's deal that night.
Right. So
there we go. We were back at the casino at about 4 o'clock.
Yeah. So in a period of 20 hours.
I love to hear Sal laugh through the curtain.
We drove round trip probably 100 miles each. Well, let's call it 120-mile round trip 3 times.
To gamble. Yeah. Well, we had fun.
I was, because I know where you went, and I was kind of like, how did they get there 3 times and he still made it 90 miles north of there?
Does it?
Right.
And we made it on time to your event, Sal. So thank you for the invite. Billy, the pull tab, you and Billy met Eric and I.
We need to have Billy back, by the way.
We would love to. So you guys were up there, Sal.
I miss Billy.
We were up there for our 25th year of what we call, it's a little Ryder Cup event type thing. You know, it's 2 teams. Yeah, it's fun. It's called Ryder Cup, 25th year. When you're in, you're in. When you're out, you're out.
So you guys play this every year. There's a little money that exchanges hands, some betting going on?
Yeah, there's some money between guys, but mainly it's more bragging rights.
Okay.
You get to hang on to it for a year. And
how many guys play in this? This is a guy's trip?
Anywhere from 16 to 24.
16 to 24. And it's multiple rounds over multiple days?
It is. What did I do the math today? It is. So a couple of us, 4 of us, torture ourselves with an additional 18.
Like 5 days of that.
Yeah.
Not just 1 day torture, right, Sal? Like, don't you play 36 5 days?
We play 180 holes of golf in 6 days.
10
you
rounds
play
of golf.
180 holes of golf. No wonder
So
you're not betting
play
much.
18, 36, 36, 36, 36, 18.
Holy cow, Sal.
You can have as much sugar as you want over there.
That seems like a lot of fun, actually.
And we walk.
You walk the whole thing?
No, just kidding.
Yeah, like, what bet did you lose to walk all that? Remember we had to keep the carts on one of the paths, and you and I hit, like, I purposely aimed towards the cart path because I don't want to walk?
Right.
Yes, I do remember you saying to me, I'm going to fade this left so that I do not have to walk over to it.
And then I duck hooked it.
So it was fun. And then David got to hang out for the evening on Sunday. And
you guys had a little concert too, right? You got to see a concert?
Yeah, we host a concert at our little, we call it the Shoust.
Shoust. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. That sounds good. A couple of local acts and some fun.
We got Johnny Home.
Okay.
GB Layton.
Yeah.
Hitchville. Matt Verlaine. Matt Kirkwald.
It was amazing.
Wow.
And there were 50 people there, Sal?
Yeah, probably 50.
In this big setting, and it was just super intimate and really, awesome.
How do you end up booking all these acts? Are they buddies? They must be
They're
buddies.
friends of friends.
Yeah.
They're followers of the gambling guys.
Yeah.
Oh, well, there you go. Yeah. So, Sal, just a little update on David's 3 times in less than 24 hours. David and I got back there the 3rd time after playing golf, and we went in and we did a little gambling, and we did okay. I don't think we really lost much, but we didn't win anything either. And soon to be Mrs. David Casino showed up to pick David up to come up to your event. And so we all walked out together. We got in our cars. They took off. I followed them a quarter of the way out the parking lot, so they thought I was leaving, and I turned right back around and parked and went right back in.
You know what's so funny about this? So Sal, Erica threw me the keys and said, "Can you drive?" And I said, "Absolutely, I'll drive." And I was looking in the rearview mirror for that white vehicle to turn around.
Did you see it?
I didn't. But then, truth be told, I when I didn't see you for a few days, and I saw you over lunch or something. And I said, "Did you go back in?" And oh, you're darn right, I did.
I did go back in.
So really, you could consider that a fourth.
That's a four-timer.
We are.
I did a four-timer
degenerates.
in 21 hours.
Crazy.
I did a four-timer.
What was the longest duration you were gone from the casino?
That Saturday night, we were there for a good 3 hours, don't you think?
Yeah, we were there for 3 hours on Saturday night. We went back to David's place. We slept there, and then we got up that next morning. So probably that was the longest stretch. 9 hours, maybe?
Maybe. With the drive, maybe more like 11.
Yeah.
But then we were in the casino for only 15, 20 minutes that time.
Yeah, that was
and
the
then we were
dog
back
walk.
for only probably an hour. But then how long were you there the fourth time? That sounds
He just got back.
How long were you there the fourth time?
That's why his hat's backward. We got another story we got to tell about last night because that was fun. But first, you did an awesome shout out to Cub, one of our sponsors.
Yeah.
And when I saw this, Sal, if you don't mind me telling the story, if not, you'll edit it out.
Okay.
So everybody's having a great time. Drinking what they want.
This was at Sal's event, at the concert
music
event.
is going on. I think Hitchfield was going on.
I'm
Billy
bummed
came
I
up,
missed
gave me a
this.
hug, and Sal, and we were just having a great time. And and he had this big Yeti, and I watched him walk over there, and he was pouring in the Stoli.
Oh,
yeah,
nice,
I saw
Sal.
that, and so when he came back, I said, "Hey, I saw you pouring in the Stoli," and then he pulls out a Duke Cannon, the lip gloss,
Lip balm.
So we're not just reading things here.
We ain't just reading.
We ain't.
Put that one on a highlight. We ain't just reading.
Yeah, got it.
We be using that stuff too. Which flavor? I know we've talked about this before, but we've got orange, raspberry, blueberry, vanilla, cucumber, citrus, or salted caramel. Or the original. What did you have, Sal?
I had the original. I used the original with what was I mixing? I think at that time, well, it was 36. After 36 holes, I was using a Monster.
Ooh, you're doing a little
Tito's Monster.
Oh,
getting the stimulant and the
Stoli
depressant
Monster.
matched together there.
The Stoli Monster. Arrgh.
Ooh, that's actually a good call.
Yeah.
That'd be a good drink.
That
We
actually
could
would
can
be.
it
I
as a
should be in
Stoli
marketing
Monster.
and I should be in advertising. I'd pitch him on the Stoli Monster drink.
Yeah, one good idea in 55 years. You should change your career.
55. I'm much younger than that, as far as you know. My liver's older, but thanks to Stoli. No.
Sal, it was a lot of fun. Thanks for
Yeah.
having Pete and
Yeah,
I up
for
to play
sure.
golf, and
Absolutely.
then that event was one of a kind. It was top notch.
Yeah,
people-
and Stoli makes things just a little smoother and a little better, and we thank them as well. Sal, I'm glad to hear that you have partaken in the Stoli as well, because it's a wonderful product and one that we appreciate their sponsorship. So.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So let's talk a little bit, because we were on a little bit of a cold streak, a little bit of a dry streak there for a bit. We weren't necessarily losing a lot of money, but we certainly weren't winning. I can tell you that. We would hit some little things here and there. And then last night, David and I had a little time together because our collective others were doing some kind of concert thing. So we decided we were going to maybe do a quick run down to Mystic Lake. And it was a Tuesday night, and I was a little negative, to be honest with you, going down there. You had to correct me a couple times. My attitude was not right.
I just had this feeling. I haven't been down to Mystic for a long time.
Yeah.
And I literally had a feeling when I put that card in, it was going to pay out. You know, we talked about this the last time, superstition, and try to use your card all the time. We hadn't been there for so long that Pete and I didn't know what kind of promos we were going to get. So we had this plan.
Yep.
And Pete and I had been watching some other people on YouTube and some other that do these $1,000. They put in $1,000 and they videotape it and they play.
Yeah, shout out
And
to
it's
the
a-
Jackpot Gents.
There you go.
and,
There's a-
Vegas Matt.
Vegas
Yeah.
Matt's a little higher, right? But Jackpot Jones every day put in $1,000.
They put $1,000 a day in.
Husband,
And-
dad, and a son.
yeah. So if
We
you-
love watching them.
They play video poker, pretty much exclusively video poker, which is why David and I like to watch those guys, because they really have some interesting insights. So go ahead,
And
David.
they've done a really good job because over the course of the year they keep track. So they're not just always posting their wins.
Yeah.
And you and I have talked about this, but it's a lot of money to throw down, right?
It is.
And so what we had as a plan was we were going to go down there and we like a warm-up round. This is another reason we tell ourselves that we like to gamble. We have call it warm-up.
We call it the warm-up round before the actual gambling, which is actually a gambling warm-up round.
Yeah.
Which is really gambling, too.
This is 100%
It's like going to the
gambling.
casino 4 times in 24 hours. But let's go ahead.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I think we walk in and I get a 5 reel. I don't even remember what wasn't Buffalo.
It was like a Dragon Link
Yeah.
or something. Something-ish with drums and
That's
stuff.
right.
Yes.
Did well, printed out a chit.
So David puts 100. So we decide that we're going to go there. When we walk in the door, we have a plan. We're going to do a $100 each warm-up round. Then we're going to put $1,000 into a poker machine and play Ultimate X or a multi-way machine, and then we're going to see what happens from there. And so, well, actually, I think we had another $100 second warm-up round of double bonus
And
poker,
double.
but
Because we had won that vouchers, right? So I think we kind of.
But let's skip that for now. So anyway, David walks in. We walk in. He goes straight to some Dragon Link machine. I pick a Leprechaun machine. He plays first. He takes 100 up to 285. Right? Wasn't it 285?
We won the bonus for 285, so I think it was like 360, and we said we're gonna
Yeah.
roll her down to 300.
So you rolled it down to 300 and you cashed out. I put my 100 into the Leprechaun, and that little Leprechaun was not lucky. That apparently it's too far away from.
When I'm hearing
St.
us talk
Patrick's
about
Day.
this, we're doing a good job, Pete. Because did you hear that?
Sal's laughing.
trying to tell
Sal was
myself-
off mic and he had to come on mic to
Sal,
laugh.
before this podcast, that I would have run that sucker down and then put more money in.
I think you probably would have.
And
you
I'm
still
just
have
I'm
those
being a little
tendencies, by
honest,
the way.
right?
Yeah.
We did you say we or I? I'm gonna
You.
have to rewind. Oh, good lord.
This is where I separate myself
Yeah.
from you, even though I
So
shouldn't.
there's a lot that Pete brings to this podcast. He does a lot of the prep work. He does all of the themes. He is the brains behind this whole thing. But
Not true.
you are definitely just as addicted to gambling and the enjoyment as I am.
100% the dopamine is very important to me.
Yeah.
But anyway,
I
so
just love what you can hear Sal chuckle back.
that fuzzy little Leprechaun machine pissed me off. I was looking for a Press Your Luck machine because those are fun and they seem to pay a lot of different bonuses. But the little fuzzy little Leprechaun, he did okay for a while and gave me some like wild cards, but I just played it down to 0. So at this point, then we're up like what, $50?
No, 50 apiece. Yep.
50 apiece, right? No.
Yeah. 'cause-
75 apiece, right? Because we each put 100 in.
See, this is where we're not accountants, and this is where gambling becomes a problem if you're trying to keep.
Because
track
you
of
got a
wins and
ticket for 360 and we're 200 in,
wins. Even 3 hundo. Remember we rolled
even
it
300. So we're up 50 apiece. So then we walk over to a $1 bonus, double bonus machine and a one-eye jacks machine. You play one-eye jacks, you play it down, lose your 100. I play double bonus and lose my 100 faster than you lost yours. And so then we are basically down $50 a piece.
But the good news is we've got a $300 chit or a voucher.
So we got a $300
Walk
voucher.
over to this what's called an Ultimate X game, and I've got some stats on this as we talk through this. I grabbed from a couple different websites.
Oh, you did? Okay, good.
So the idea is we still play double bonus poker in a 9-5 game. We've talked about that before. The 9 on the full house, it pays 9, and flush pays 5. That's a really high paying payout game. Well, I'll just say it right now. If you're playing 3 hands, it's 99.7% payout. If you're playing a 5 times, it's 99. It's the same, and then it goes up. If you're playing 10 times, it's 99.86 payout over the life if you play it accurate. Now the thing about this game is, so we picked a 3-handed dollar double bonus, but it's Ultimate X. Sal, if you're following us, so you double your bet. So we're playing $5, $5, $5, and then you double it. So every time we hit the button, it's $30.
$30. So we take the 300. We each put in 350. We're up to 1,000. This is the first time, and when watching the Jackpot Gents, we've decided at some point we were going to do $1,000 play like they do every day. So we put $1,000 into a machine. We're playing 3 different instances of double bonus poker at double the amount because you get multipliers with Ultimate X.
And if I can I read this out?
You can.
Because then I have a question for you. So this game is it's called an optional feature to play 3, 5, or 10 play. If the player declines to play the multiple X, it just is a multiple play game. But if you use the max coin, so we were doing that, $30 each time, you're going to activate the Ultimate X feature. So the mode is any paying hand will pay both immediately and earn a multiplier on the next following hand in that position. Okay, so if we get dealt, and we got dealt a full house. So it was $45.
Yes.
Times 3, because it was 45, 45, 45. The next hand, Sal, was a 12 times multiplier for each one of those hands.
Oh, wow.
So that's why you paid double. And we got a 3 of a kind and I think a straight or a flush. And let me ask you, so we're going to tell our listeners what happens in a slot machine, depending upon the dollar amount, but on a dollar one, over 1,200. Did you know it was going to happen?
I did not know. I've seen it on other programs, specifically the gents, but...
So go ahead. You're sitting to my right. And
so I'm sitting to David's right. He's playing. And lately, honestly, we've been riding David's hot hand because it's either, call it karma, call it attitude, call it whatever. My cards have not been as good as David's, at least in the last 4 or 5 sessions that we've been together. So we decided David's going to play and I'm going to play second. Well, David steps up and he starts hitting things on this 3-timer with multipliers associated with it. And this machine, if it was built in 1997, I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, it was an old machine. It was one of those poker machines you walk up to, Sal, where you're like, okay, there's 14 cigarette burns on it. There's where the coins used to come out. But it's still playing, and it's a video machine, and they obviously have rebuilt the inside of it and rebuilt the machine for, since whenever it was built. Who the hell knows when it had reels to it. And David starts hitting things, and we're at $1,000, and then we're at 1080, and then we're at 1125, and then all of a sudden we hit this little thing comes up. David hits like 3 of a kind and a couple straights, and they're at multipliers, and it comes up, says printing voucher. So every time you get over $1,200 on the machine, it prints a voucher for the difference between what your balance is and $1,200.
I got a smile on my face because we grabbed it. I think the first one was $85.
The first one was $85.
And then, Sal, like 2 hands later, printing voucher. And we look at it and it was $125.
It was $105.
$105. Okay.
Yep.
And then we hit something bigger and it was $850. Right?
Yeah.
Or $830. What was it?
Then you hit that. At that point, my mind's like blown. Like, holy cow, where are these vouchers coming from? And I'm looking at our balance, and it's still above 1,200. And I'm like, what the hell is going on? And then you hit the button, and you're like, look, here comes another voucher. And you hand it to me, and it was like $830.
So now we have nearly 1,000 in vouchers. And I look at Pete and I said, do you want to play or you want to be the voucher guy? He goes, I want to be the voucher guy.
It's exactly what I said.
And
how I said it.
It was so much fun to actually have the machine give us money and win. And that's not even the end of it, right?
That's not the end of it. The fun part comes in a second. So then David, after that, we've got a couple multipliers on a couple of reels, or on a couple of instances. So we're playing 3-handed. David hits it. And
it was a straight for 8 in the middle. So in the next hand we had an 8 times multiplier in the middle hand.
So the middle row of double bonus poker has an 8-time multiple, and so 3 of a kind pays 15. A full house pays 40 or 45. I think 45.
And you just multiply that by 8.
And then you multiply that by 8 when you win. So David gets dealt a pair of 8?
Pair of 8s in the 4th and 5th position.
Pair of 8s in the 4th and 5th position.
So, and I'm going to let you tell this, but for those of you that haven't played it before, you have 3 hands.
Yep.
And you only see the first hand, right? That comes out, and I selected and I kept the 2 8s.
Yep.
And then what happens is the 2 8s go up to the second and third hand, and then you hit deal.
All 3 hands show a pair of 8s because that first, right?
And then
so David hits deal. And I look in the middle hand, and there's 4 8s there and a king. And David looks at me, and he goes, there you go. And I'm like, okay, another $250. Well, it was an 8-time multiplier. So it was $2,000.
$2,000. It locked her up, W2G.
Locked it up. Here comes the C attendant. Wait for attendant. What does that say again?
Yep,
yeah.
Exactly.
And we won $2,000. And I still look down, and what do we got? We got
$855 in there.
$855 in there. So at that point, we're probably up $2,000, a piece. Maybe?
Well, I did the math because we ended up
Roughly?
only losing $300 because after that we spent $300 before we left.
Yeah.
Because I pulled out the $1,600 for taxes and you took we each split $700 and then I took an extra $600, but we walked out of there with $16 in the grand.
Yeah, so if you get dealt a royal flush on that three-way thing, you literally can make $12,000 with no multipliers. But if you happen to get it on a multiplier, you can win up to what are we 36,000?
Well, no, you can. I mean, 4 times 12 is 48,000. What's 48,000 times 3?
Oh.
Sal, I mean, what are we talking? That's 144,000.
136,000 or something.
A lot.
44,000. Yeah. So crazy. It
was fun,
but it was a great time, and it felt like because it was a Tuesday night and it was quiet in there. For some reason, when I was walking around taking my unscientific poll, it felt like there was a lot of people hitting bonus rounds. I wonder if I don't think they can control the looseness or tightness of a casino. Maybe they can. No one seems to know that, but for most of us who are gambling a long time, it's a random number generator, and they can't control it. But it sure feels sometimes like there's just an error that
I've thought of
changed.
that, like in the morning in Vegas. Have the machines been hit so hard that they're ready to pay? Right? The random generator, it's coming. But we both, maybe it's kind of the first time you said you weren't feeling it. I could tell you weren't feeling it at the Leprechaun. You were looking over your shoulder and whatever. But that was so much fun.
You laugh at me when I do that, when I look at other people playing, because you're like, pay attention, and I'm like, why should I pay attention? It's a freaking 5 reel. If
I've
you
never
hit it,
played
I'll wait
bingo
for the
with
sound.
you, but I bet you're on everybody else's card in bingo.
I was hoping we would win 144,000 because I'd like to build another custom home in my life. And Custom One builds custom houses, and they do it very well. And they're a sponsor of ours. Their houses are jaw-dropping. They've won awards on the Parade of Homes, on the Artisan Tour, or like you like to call it, the Artesian Tour.
You give me as much hard of a time as we give Sal about Freddie Couples missing the cut. So we got to get something on you.
But
keep going.
But
with
like
custom
Duke
homes.
Canning with these guys are very. What's really important to them is giving back. So they've given money to children's cancer research. They've done wheelchair accessible homes for people who are really in need, and have always been a wonderful piece of the home building community in the Twin Cities. So if you're looking for a home, folks, please go at least check out Custom One. Wonderful product, wonderful people. We thank them for their sponsorship.
Yeah, really well done. We couldn't be here without all the sponsors, like Pete said, here in the Pull Tab Sport Network, along with Sal, Spencer, the rest of the gang. Sal in particular, thank you for a really fun week last time and doing this with us.
Yeah, it's a great quick episode, one that I'd love to talk. I can talk about this all day. I think we could do 8-hour episodes, but I don't think Sal would be too excited about it.
The next episode, we're going to have somebody coming in through the Pull Tab Sport Network. She's coming in. She likes to gamble. We're going to be doing that next time.
I believe she's our wild correspondent and likes to wager once or twice in her life. So
if you're sick of looking at a couple of guys like us,
good-looking guys like us.
Good-looking guys like us. We got somebody talking about the wild and gambling coming up.
Yeah, so our next episode, we're going to have a guest. We're going to go 5 questions. We're going to talk about We're going to talk about Kelly's experience with gambling, and probably throw a little shit at Sal about being a producer, and see if we can get Kelly to tell us some stories about Sal as well.
Okay.
And I think it's going to be fun. So stay tuned for the next episode, and thank you for listening this time, folks.
Thank you.